Hey musicians, my name is Tori, for those of you who don't know me. I moved here to O'Fallon just before my junior year and I was able to sing with chamber choir for a year and a half before graduating this past December. Mrs. Jones has asked me to talk to you guys about my experience with the All-National Honors Ensemble Choir. So I'm going to tell you guys not just about the 3-day program, but about my road to nationals and what could possibly be your road to nationals. So as I told you, I moved to O'Fallon my junior year, but you all know that a high school story starts freshman year. So I started in the freshman choir for a semester, and then I moved to concert choir for a semester. And my second year I was in the advanced women's choir at my old school called Bella Voce. And then I moved here to O'Fallon and was with the chamber choir. And my junior year, I was told that we were all required to audition for ILMEA. And I said, IL what? And I had no idea what that meant. I didn't know what the auditions were. I didn't know what district was. I had no idea what All-State was. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on. and so I didn't put too much care into that audition because I had no idea what was going on. But I did learn my music and I gave my best audition. And when the district lists came out, I was on the district list for both vocal jazz and the senior chorus. And it was a really awesome experience. So what happens for district is you just go for a day, and lots of kids from O'Fallon make district, so it's really fun. You kind of all go together and you rehearse all day. You get to go have lunch with your friends, and then at night you put on your concert and you all get choir robes. It was my very first ever choir robe experience because we did not have robes at my old school. And we had this really fun guest conductor. So district was super fun, and I was like, oh, I'm so glad I auditioned. You know, like, I totally would have gone into this a little more focused if I had known what this really meant, but it was super fun. And then the All-State list came out in January, and I was on that All-State list, and I was a little shocked, not gonna lie, because I could have prepared my audition a lot harder. But I was like, okay, All-State, awesome. Still had no idea what it was. I eventually learned that All-State was a whole 3-day event that we got to travel for and stay in a hotel, and I was like, what? That's the best thing I've ever heard. And so All-State came around, we traveled to Peoria, we got all checked into our hotel, and that first night there's an opening concert for the whole weekend, and then it was the best weekend ever. It was the best weekend of my life. I considered it heaven on earth. It really has been a highlighting experience of my life. You rehearse a lot, and I love that. I love it so much because you are surrounded by the most talented choir kids from around the state, and it's so incredible to be united and surrounded with these people because you're all there for the same reason. And it's such a powerful feeling. You're all there for music. It's so amazing. I describe the experience as transcendental because it really did feel like heaven on earth, and there's those moments you just connect with each other so much. It's like you leave this earth for a minute and you're just in another world because of music. And we had the most fun guest conductor. His name was Dr. Pallant, and he was so funny and so fun, worked with us so well. I loved singing with those kids. And getting that experience and getting to talk to the composers of some of the pieces we sang because Dr. Pallant knew them and called them up, and that was a super cool part of the experience. And then that final concert comes around, and like I told you, it was like that transcendental experience where you're all so united because you've been together nonstop for the past couple days working with that same conductor in the same room, making that same music, and you have this mutual understanding, and you just become one, and it is so cool. I loved All-State. While we were at All-State, Mrs. Jones was like, hey, because you made All-State, you can audition for the All-National Choir, and you'll get to travel to Florida. And at first I was like, what? I was like, oh no, that sounds really stressful, so I'm not gonna do that. But time came for auditions, and I was like, okay, Olivia, Helen, we are auditioning. And we gotta hold each other accountable. And so the auditions, since it's nationals, all the auditions are virtual not because of COVID, they're just virtual. So you learn like one piece and you can do that piece and a song of your choice if you'd like. And eventually I got my nationals audition recorded. So I sent it in and I waited and I waited and I waited, girl. Girl, did I wait. Anyways, and then I finally got the email and I made nationals, and Olivia Helen also made nationals, and we were like, oh my gosh, we're gonna go to Florida together and it's gonna be so fun. And fast forward, Corona was still happening. Unfortunately, we did not get to go to Florida and have our in-person nationals, but they ended up converting the event to a virtual event this year. And Olivia didn't do it because she had a college audition, but I was like, okay, I'm going to give this virtual event a shot. And going into it, I was a little nervous, like, that I just wasn't going to get much out of it. Because of the virtual format, I was like, you know, Allstate was so special because I got to connect with these people on, like, a whole new level. And I was like, how am I going to connect with these people, like, through a virtual format? And so I kind of, like, went into that first like opening ceremony a little wary, but I came out of it so excited and inspired because the people at NAFME, which is the National Association for Music Education, who run all nationals, they're just so incredible. They're so incredible. I mean, they're just the top, like, they've been through the music education system. They're totally involved. They know music inside and out. They know what it's like to be in these ensembles and to connect with other people through music. And so we heard from the president of NAFME, and then they brought on this speaker who was super funny, super enthusiastic, and these people were just electric. It was that electric feeling that I had at Allstate. We had lots of speakers because it was in a virtual format. We had some master classes, and we had rehearsals. Our mixed choir conductor, her name was Dr. Frances Smith. She was super fun, and we worked on these pieces to put together in a virtual choir. And then that last day, they got us all hyped up for this, like, guest artist thing. We were like, okay, you've got us all hyped up for like 3 days now. Who is it gonna be? And it was Eric Whitaker. And if you don't know who that is, you are gonna learn because you are a choir kid, and he is a beautiful composer. He does these gorgeous pieces. We sang one for Madrigals in 2019 called Luke's. He's just this incredible composer, and he's the inventor of the virtual choir. He did the first virtual choir, like, ever, and has pioneered virtual choirs. And another thing about nationals that I was worried about, as I told you, was connecting with not only, like, the educators, which I did feel like really connected to them because they were the ones talking to us, but the other kids, because it was on a platform where we weren't seeing each other, but there was a chat. That chat, like, really brought us together because we were able to, like, talk to each other and connect and share our thoughts and share our Instagrams and find each other on, like, other platforms and talk about, you know, music. That's it. That's what's behind it all, is music. That's why you're in choir. Music. Because you love music and you love to sing. And so nationals was a really incredible experience. Had I known, like, the experiences that I would end up having at Allstate and all nationals, I wouldn't have risked not making them by not preparing for my audition. I was lucky to have given a really good audition with not as much preparation as I could have, but that was such a risk I was taking. Like, I could have just not made Allstate and I never would have known what it was like. I never would have had that experience. So this year I went in really caring about this audition, and I want that to be what you do, because I want you to make Allstate. I really want you to make Allstate because it's life-changing, and then to go on to audition for nationals afterward. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for this experience. One part of my story that I want to tell you about making it up to nationals is that I have never had the most training. I did not have any voice coaching before I moved to O'Fallon. I had a very minimal amount my junior year. And that was after I had given my audition that got me to All-State. I didn't start, you know, I had some vocal training my junior year, just very minimal, preparing for like a competition, but we weren't able to afford regular lessons, and I didn't start regular vocal training until just recently, which I love, by the way. I think it's so fun. 100% get vocal training if you can, if it's possible for you, and if you're in chamber choir, get that vocal training that you can, because it's an amazing tool, and it's like the best way to improve yourself as a musician. But I just want to say, like, don't count yourself as disadvantaged for not having that extra vocal training. What's going to be an advantage is that you are observant of your ensembles and of the people around you, and especially of the people who are better than you. There's always going to be someone who's better than you in an ensemble. Pay attention to them like crazy. Not to be like, oh, I want to be you, like I'm idolizing you, but because they probably have training that you don't have. And I've literally learned so much through high school by listening to other people and copying. Like, imitating has been one of the greatest ways I have grown my voice, just trying different things with it, and really listening to my directors as they're correcting on pieces, as they talk about little vocal techniques. They'll always slip those lessons in there. Pick those up like gold, like, you know, and especially going to experiences like district and All-State, like, you're gonna learn so much. Like, pick it all out. It's just little things that you pick up from everyone. So be observant, and that can be your voice lessons sometimes. You don't have to be the most trained to make nationals. Don't let that discourage you. So now, let's stop talking about me, and let's start talking about you. Let's start talking about you. So mostly freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, this is for you. I want you to go into next year focused and feeling motivated with a goal to at least make district, and then that next goal of All-State, and if you want to proceed after that, nationals. You all know about the audition. Mrs. Jones can tell you about it. I would encourage, so in chamber choir, it's required that everybody audition, but I would encourage all of you to audition. It's free. It's a really good experience in the choir world, in the audition world. Especially freshmen, like, get started now. You can go to district. Freshmen can't go to state. But if you, like, do that audition freshman year and you do really well and you go to district, like, you have this little piece, like, district is amazing. And you have this little piece of, like, okay, next year let's do it, and let's do it even better. Chamber choir kids, a note to you guys. I know, like, there are kids who complain about being required to audition for ILMEA. Was I one of those kids at times? Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. We're teenagers. We like to complain. But, like, don't take this opportunity for granted. Like, the fact that I was required to audition for something that I had no idea what it was ended up being one of the best things of my entire life. So don't waste it. Don't just think of this as another thing to cross off your list. Like, really put some effort into this. It will definitely pay off. So what I want to do is give you a couple audition tips, because I've been through it and I want you to succeed. So my first audition tip is that anybody can learn notes and rhythms. And that doesn't really sound like a tip, but listen. Your audition is really going to be about the life that you bring to those notes and rhythms. You're given, like, what, 25 seconds, however many measures. It's your time. This is your solo. Does that mean change the notes and riff it up? No. But put your voice into it. Tone is worth a lot of points, like a big percentage of your score. So if you are, like, quiet and kind of shy or very airy. I find with like a lot of younger high school musicians have a very airy sound. They just haven't quite found like that head voice yet. Or at least for girls. I don't know what it's like to sing as a guy. But finding your tone, a very full tone, very clear tone, and really singing it out for what it's worth. If you have a vibrato, don't cut it. Don't force yourself to have a vibrato. Don't do anything unnatural. But if you have this natural vibrato that you've developed, use it, you know. Not in jazz. Not in jazz. But for the normal chorus audition, use that natural vibrato. If you don't, that's okay too. I didn't develop my vibrato until a little bit later in high school. And, you know, some people just have a beautiful straight tone. I think for scales, something I mean, obviously, like, you want to be really comfortable with scales, but you don't want to be so comfortable that you're getting lazy. So for scales, like, I think center of pitch is really, really important to make sure you're on that C, and you're on that D, and you're on that E. You're not, like, scooping up to it or kind of above it or floating around it. Like, you want to be on that center of pitch. So be obviously, like, on top of your scales. Don't get lazy. Don't stop thinking about them because you're like, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Like, what more is there to it? But no, scales are so important. Like, that's the basis of music. Don't, like, sell it for less than it's worth. That's a big part of your points. For sight reading, I won't say I'm the best sight reader in the world. But honestly, I think my tip is not overthinking it. With that sight reading, don't be, like, feeble about it. Don't be feeble about it. Sing those, like, notes wrong and strong. If you're going to sing them wrong, sing them loud. Because if you're going to sing them right, you really want to be singing them loud. You want them to hear, not like, loud, I'm screaming at you, but not like quiet and reserved. Don't be like, no, I'm kind of sight reading. Like, commit. You just have to commit. You have to be like, this is me sight reading. If you get a note wrong, you get a note wrong. But if you get a note right, at least it's like in clear, beautiful tone where they can hear you, right? So my next audition tip is to dress up for you. It's a blind audition as long as it's not virtual. But it's a blind audition. Judge isn't gonna see you. Dress up for you. Like, that first year I went in there, I was wearing my Bella Voce dress from the previous year, Bella Voce at my old school. It was like this beautiful concert dress, and I was like way overdressed compared to anybody. But I felt so great. And like, so when I went in that room, I was like, I feel good. I'm giving on a concert. I'm gonna give you my best audition. When you look good, you feel good, honestly. Like, it's facts. It's facts. So go in there looking good, feeling good. It's not for anybody else but you. I would like to say that all this, like, all-state, perhaps you go to nationals, it's not just about auditions. It's not just about what you do when you go in that room. It's about who you are as a choir kid every day. Because if you are a choir kid who's committed every day, you're going to give a better audition. You're going to be more prepared to give a good audition. So some of my tips for just being the best choir kid you can be: don't leave the binder in the classroom. Take that binder home every day. Are you going to open it every day? No. Is it going to, like, sit in your backpack some nights? Yeah, absolutely. But take that binder with you, because some of my most, like, efficient, useful practices have been not even singing out loud. I have like 5 minutes at the end of a class and I pull out my binder and memorize some words. And then I'm that much more prepared for the next class because I know the words. Now I can focus on the musicality, right? Some of your best practices aren't going to be, I stood up, I stretched, I warmed up for 15 minutes, I gave it all I had, it was gorgeous, I was at the piano. Like, that can be a really overwhelming way to think of practicing at home, and I think that's something that has stopped me from practicing for sure, and I'm sure has stopped a lot of other people from practicing. Don't think that every time you practice, you need to, like, practice for half an hour, because it's hard to get motivated to practice for half an hour, but how easy is it to be like, okay, I'm laying on my bed sideways, and my binder is kind of, like, right there, so I guess I can, like, look at my music. Memorize the little nuances of, like, this rhythm is different here. The word is different here. Look at your dynamics, notes, just observe the music. You don't have to perform it to practice. Honestly, like that is my biggest practice tip, is that some of your most useful practices will not be about actively singing it. Should you be actively singing it and practicing it most of the time? Yes. Obviously, that's going to be a really important way to practice. But that's not going to be your only kind of practicing. And I don't want you to think that's the only way to practice, is to do that like full out choir kid routine. Another tip for being the best everyday choir kid that you can be is that attitude is everything. And I won't sit here and claim that I always had the best attitude, because I know that I didn't. And that's something that I'm always trying to work on, because there's definitely been experiences that I have ruined for myself because of my attitude, where I could have had like such an awesome experience and like grown and learned. But like my attitude ruined that for me and ruined that opportunity and took that away from me. And I just hope better for you. I hope you don't get those opportunities taken away from you, and that you'll be better than me. And maybe that's something we can both work on, is like always going into something with a growth mindset, and that we're gonna get the best thing out of this. It's easy to have a positive attitude when like you go into something and you're excited and it's easy and whatever, but once things like get hard and like crap hits the fan, that's when it's the real test. And I haven't always passed that test of having that good attitude and deciding like this is gonna be a good experience. But I really hope I'll be better at that in the future. And if you go into it thinking that way, like, I think you and I will both learn some things. The really cool thing that I've learned from going to events like nationals and hearing from those like top tier music educators and musicians is that musicians are different from other people in this world. I love the people in the music community because they're so electric and they know like how to make you feel electric about music, because that's what music does. People love to hire musicians. Schools love to accept musicians, especially into like non-music programs. Non-music programs love musicians. Graduate programs love musicians. Harvard, when they are interviewing people for their graduate program, the last question they ask them is, did you sing or play an instrument or participate in an ensemble in high school? It's because musicians are different. They work harder than other people. They've learned really good habits. They've learned time management of practicing and getting things done. They've learned how to be a member of a team. They've learned self-responsibility. They've learned to show up when things get hard. And that's who musicians are. They're different. You're different. You're different because you're a musician. And you're going to take that with you through your whole life. And I hope that even if you don't major in music, because most of you won't, I hope that you carry music with you for the rest of your life. I hope you participate in ensembles actively, but if that's not for you and you don't want to continue to participate in ensembles, I hope that you'll still love music and you'll still sing in the shower, and I hope you'll still listen to your playlist in the car, because you'll always be a musician. I really don't know how to finish this video because I'm feeling all sentimental and stuff about All-State, which I loved, and nationals, and honestly just all the goodness that music has brought to my life and the ways it has enriched my life, and these experiences have enriched my life. So I just hope that you will do the same and let music enrich your life and have those experiences. And good luck to all of you who are doing ILMEA auditions next year. If you have any questions, hit me up on Instagram, Miss Willy Wonka. I'd love to answer your questions about those auditions, the nationals auditions, whatever you want. And I just want to wish you the best going forward with your musical journey, I guess, because that's what life is. And I know that you will succeed gloriously.